Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. 2025 was a huge year for simulator games, especially in early access. We saw a massive number of new simulator titles launch, covering everything from management and logistics to food production, IT, retail, factory sims, you name it. Now that we're in January 2026, it feels like the perfect time to check back in and see how those early access games are actually doing. Some of them are moving forward really well, with regular updates, clear development plans, and strong community support. Others, not so much. So in this video, I'm starting a new series where I check in on early access simulators from 2025, give my honest take on who's thriving and who's flopping. This is part 1, and I'll be covering as many simulator games as possible in future videos, so let's get started. First up, Food Processing Simulator, which released into early access on the 18th of December 2025. One of the quickest signals I look at when I'm checking how an early access game is doing is player reviews, because it tells you very simply whether a player is having a good time and whether the devs are building trust. Right now, Food Processing Simulator is sitting at very positive reviews, which is a strong start to a brand new early access release. And another massive sign of health, updating frequency. This game has been putting in the work. There have been some multiple chunky major updates in the last couple of weeks alone. And they're the kind of updates that improve how a game feels to play, not just fixes. So let's have a look at those, shall we? First up, I want to have a look at one which was released only a week ago, the version 0.5.25. They have been quite clever with this one. There's some quality of life improvements and some generally useful tools. One of the big ones is speed control for every machine, including conveyors and utility machines. That's huge for factory flow because it gives you a proper control over throughout instead of fighting bottlenecks. Then they've also added supply racks, designed specifically for commodities, packing, and labels. Basically storage that matches how the player actually runs a factory, and they've even adjusted employee behaviour to staff so that they can support the system as well. And then the hand fork. This is another one they've added. A very practical addition, the hand fork, so you can move pallets indoors without needing the full forklift setup. And last but not least, they have also improved the delivery management. Let me find that. Here we go. Delivery loader assignment panel. The loader assignment panel, which is exactly the sort of management clarity feature that separates a messy sim from a satisfying one. So, big thumbs up from me. The other big update was this one, version 0.5.50, which only came out on January the 23rd. Now, this one introduced a vendor truck, and it is a very big update. So let's have a look at this. This is the vendor truck expansion right here. This basically is a new gameplay loop. Instead of only selling through client projects, you can now sell your products directly, including lower grade or even unlabeled stock, which turns what used to be waste into a side activity. And that reputation progress is a smart move because it gives players a reason to keep engaging with the system. New locations, bigger capacity, and more to build forward. So overall, you've got very positive reviews, rapid updates, meaningful quality of life improvements, and a new system that adds depth. For me, Food Processing Simulator is thriving right now. Early access is always going to be a long game, but this is exactly what you want to see. Players are happy and the devs are building momentum fast. Next up is Console Shop Simulator. Console Shop Simulator launched in July 2025, and since then it's been receiving consistent monthly updates, which is exactly what you want to see from a game still in early access. I've personally put in around 28 hours into this game, so you can guess it, I also am very positive about this game, which is exactly where it's sitting on Steam. Very positive from all player reviews. Now, where Console Shop Simulator really stands out in its scale and consistency of its updates. So let's jump in and take a look at that. Even looking at the last few months, you can see they haven't just been small or cosmetic updates. They've been feature heavy and system focused. The most recent update has included a new unlockable arcade system, bringing in multiple new arcade machines, including shooters, basketball, skee-ball, dance, pinball, air hockey, racing and pool, with plushy toys and expanded product variety, new ways to sell items through online sales, cartridge mod creation via Steam Workshop, deeper employee controls and smarter stock behaviour. This update alone adds a completely new gameplay layer on top of the existing shop management. So alongside the new features, there has also been a lot of work on the quality of life. Recent patches include heavily on employee AI and trading behaviour, online sales and stability, UI clarity and performance, save reliability, and the reduction in memory usage when using and running lots of mods. That balance between adding content and improving stability is a very good sign, especially for a simulator that's only going to get more complex over time. What is encouraging here is the systems are clearly built on each other. The arcade content adds a fresh new progression loop, mod support keeps expanding, trading and second-hand mechanics continue to evolve, performance is improving as features stack up. This feels like a game with a clear long-term plan, not one scrambling to patch holes. So my verdict is that Console Simulator is firmly in the thriving category. Regular updates, strong player sentiment, meaningful feature additions, and a steady polish all point to the same direction. It's still early access, but the momentum here is exactly where it needs to be. Next up is Mall Simulator, and this one sits a bit more in the middle compared to some of the other early access simulator games we've looked at. Since launch, Mall Simulator has received updates including performance patches and a handful of feature improvements, but the pace hasn't been as aggressive as some of the other standout early access titles right now. We've seen things like smarter restocking update, which has fixed some of the frustrating employee behaviour, and the performance-focused patches aimed at reducing lag in larger malls. These are important fixes, but they're more about stabilising the existing system than pushing the game forward in big leaps. There was also a seasonal update which added flavour and polish, but again, nothing that dramatically reshaped the gameplay. Compared to the other games we were shipping weekly or bi-weekly featured updates, Mall Simulator feels like it's moving at a slower, more cautious pace. This is not necessarily a bad thing, but it does mean progress feels incremental rather than exciting. The good news is that the game is stable, the direction is clear, and the developers are communicating with the community. The foundations are solid, and just isn't evolving as fast as some of the top performers in early access right now. So for me, Mall Simulator isn't flopping. It is also not a leading early access in the pack, but it is leaning towards thriving. And of course, it does have very positive reviews on Steam, so who am I to argue? Next up, Cargo Simulator. Cargo Simulator launched into early access in September 2025, and since then it has been receiving regular updates, but the nature of those updates is important to point out. Most of the updates are hot fixes, which we're most seeing are patch updates focused heavily on bug fixes, performance issues, and quality of life improvements. Things like crashes, loading problems, employee behaviour, user interface bugs, and progression balance have clearly been a priority. There was a larger update in December, and this included the progression and economy overhaul, which included the introduction of a meaningful system changes, employee roles, shelf filtering, delivery improvements, and licensing. That update did a lot of heavy lifting and showed real intent from the developer. Now, I have played about 6 hours in this game. I progressed quite far, and then this update actually wiped all of my progress. So I was, of course, I'm happy that they've introduced this, the progression and economy overhaul. It's just annoying when your progress gets wiped. Since then, however, the updates have been largely maintenance driven, as you can see, and they are frequent, which is good, but they're not adding major new gameplay systems at the same pace as some of the other titles that we've looked at. Player reception reflects that balance. Reviews are sitting at mostly positive, most recent ones have been mixed, and that suggests players see the potential and appreciate the bug fixes, but they may be waiting for more substantial content additions. So where does that leave Cargo Simulator right now? At this stage, I'd say this is one which is stable and improving, but not accelerating in the same way other strong early access performers are. The foundations are clear, they're being worked on, and that's a really good sign. But the next step really is there needs to be new systems expansion or standout features, not just fixes. So I'm leaning towards steady but cautious. Not flopping, but not really thriving either, so I'm really on the fence with this one. It feels like this game it is being prepared for growth rather than actively hitting its stride, but only the next weeks and months will be able to tell us. Unfortunately, I'm not a mind reader, and I would love for the developers to reach out and give me some insight. So that brings us to the end of this early access check-in. 2025 was really a huge year for simulator games, especially in early access. And now we're into January, it finally feels the right time to stop, look back, and ask the simple question: which of these games are actually moving forward, and which ones are just standing still? Across these 4 games, we've seen very different approaches to early access. Food Processing Simulator is clearly thriving, frequent updates, meaningful system, and strong communication with players. This one feels confident in its direction. Console Simulator has been steadily growing with consistent monthly updates and clear content pipelines. It's not rushing, but it's moving forward. More Simulator feels more stable than explosive. Updates are happening, but in a slower pace compared to the others. There's progress here, but it's a lot more measured. And Cargo Simulator has a huge amount of activity, especially on fixes and core systems, is still finding its feet, but there's no question the developers are actively working on it. And that's really the key takeaway from this series. Early access isn't about perfection, it's about momentum. In the next parts of these check-ins, we'll be tracking these games, adding more to the list, and seeing which one continues to thrive, and who starts to fall behind. Let me know in the comments which simulator you think is doing early access right, and which one you are most excited about to check in back early on later in the year. Thank you so much. Generally, I am so pleased to bring this to you, and I hope you found it informative, and I'll catch you in the next one.